welcome back. This is a very special episode on the Rest of Us podcast because we have a very special guest, our very own Jeffrey Pierce. Please welcome Jeffrey Pierce.
Welcome.
I will put like a ton of applause here. All right, Jeffrey.
Yes.
You just died.
Well, it was a while ago, but yeah, for sure.
That's a good point.
When did you shoot that scene? So like when did the shooting happen for that?
Had to be early April of last year. So coming up on about 10, 11 months.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my God, it was a long time ago then.
Yeah.
Did you have to relive the trauma that it caused?
No, it was great. The only trauma for me was Adam Basil running across the street towards me, lumbering in his 80-pound suit. And then all my trauma ended when he grabbed a hold of me. Everything else was done in post by the lovely people at Weta. And they did an amazing
Wait, that was CGI? What?
Yeah, he never picked me up and hugged me.
Spoiling the magic, yeah.
I really hope he gave you like a big hug afterwards, like, you know.
In that suit, a hug would have been a terrifying thing. The best part about it is the butt on that thing. And nobody's shared pictures of that. The butt on the bloater was the funniest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Because it's like
I've seen a photo of it.
You've seen the butt? Hilarious. Like this
It's
cute
great.
little angelic butt with like, blisters and fungal outgrowths.
Did you have any unique experience from the Last of Us set that you'll kind of just like carry with you and like fun memories?
Oh, the 3 weeks of shooting at night were extraordinary in every way. I mean, it's everything you could hope for as an actor. It's this massive set that could have been like Ben-Hur on a back lot in the 1940s or 50s in terms of the scope and the scale of what they built out. So getting to play in that world and the fire, the house catching fire every night and all the stunt men and women and background performers pouring out of that hole, it was amazing. I mean, it's everything you dream about as a kid. It's difficult to nail down any single one because it was just extraordinary in every bit of its nature.
It looked so unique and so cool to just be like in it. Because when you're in the video games, when you're playing and doing that kind of stuff, you're just in the suits and a weird set. And now you actually get to like feel it all.
Oh, yeah. It all felt very sort of real. Like the stuff from the bloater hole, which is what they were calling it.
That's actually brilliant.
Was somewhat contained to, I think, maybe 4 or 5 nights of shooting. But we would turn around and you can hear the fire sort of crackling in the background and everything's silent. And then all of a sudden they come roaring out of that hole. And every time it was unbelievable. There's a short film that didn't make the final cut that takes place with Kathleen and I fighting our way backwards across that street and an entire bit of choreography that ended up not in the cut. Well, only bummer on a personal level because it was really cool. There was no way, and I haven't talked to anybody about it, but my assumption is that there's just so much going on. The thread has got to be Ellie and her getting to the car and the child clicker and what's happening for Sam and for Henry and Joel, the all of the drama of the rifle and trying to protect her. There was no way to cohesively tell the story of what we did going across the street and tell the story of Joel and Ellie and Henry and Sam. And that's the spine of the series and the spine of the episode. And so, enough got to stay in that I'm very pleased.
Good.
But it is what it is.
I mean, we can still get it as a deleted scene.
Well, I have to talk to Tim and over at editing and no, because none of that stuff got processed and posted with
okay.
any of the CG or anything.
Well, we definitely loved what we got.
Yeah.
And so did I. I have no
Good.
complaints.
Good. That's important.
I will put a question in here because I was curious to find out how many extras did you actually have on the scene?
I think between the professional stunt team and the extras, probably 75 or 80.
Okay. So like a lot of clickers were like CGI then, I'm guessing.
Well, I think that, yeah, they did some CGI, but not as much as, the practical aspect, those 75 performers were all rehearsing together to put together the learning and the movements and everything. So there was some CGI, but yes, there's a lot of CGI, but so much of it's built off the practical work that that everybody else did.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, playing Tommy in the video game, it must have been a huge moment for you, a huge role. I don't think it was just another job. So what did it feel like after that experience, playing Tommy in the first game, playing Tommy in the second game, and everything you went through with that? What was it like doing the series and playing a different character, technically on the sort of the other side of the moral spectrum, but also being involved in a TV series adaptation? Was it kind of a familiar feeling? And yeah, what was it like just playing a different character in the same sort of world of The Last of Us?
The great part about this was I had an incredible amount of freedom to choose who Perry was going to be.
Okay.
There was not a lot necessarily of specificity to go on in terms of like, here's his backstory, and this is where he came from, and on and on and on. So I was able to develop all of that sort of on my own, and then be like, "Hey Neil, what do you guys think about this?" And they were incredibly supportive of all the choices that I made. So in some sense, I got to create him out of a very limited bit of input, and so I got to choose his entire backstory and his wardrobe and his weapons, and that was an incredible experience on something of this scope, to be able to have that much input. Playing Tommy was
awesome. It was the best ever.
yeah. But Tommy had a very specific function, and Perry had a very specific function. I think that the magical thing with this was everybody, when I showed up at set, everybody knew that I had played Tommy. So there was this welcoming, and this sort of like care that was expressed because of their attachment to my performance as Tommy, that served as the base for everything that I did with Perry. So the two things mesh in this magical way, where I was welcomed into that world in a way that would be difficult to achieve had I not played Tommy, if that makes sense. Right. Because everybody who was on set, by the time I got there, if they hadn't been a fan of the game beforehand, they had played it and experienced it in between the start of production and my arrival. So it was like walking into, 250 new best friends, which is just, it's really special. I love the relationship between the crew and cast, and consider myself a member of the crew on any set that I go to. And it's really great to be embraced in that way, because then everybody's sort of like pushing in the same direction, and that kind of energy and that feeling on set is something that I enjoy the most out of anything that I get to do on a job, is just sort of being part of that world.
Here's a very serious question. You had like a creative freedom with Perry. So the question comes, that bloater wasn't paying any attention to you. Why would you shoot at it? I was so fed up. I was like, Perry, don't shoot at the bloater.
For me, it was because if I can draw him to me, she can escape. Then what he does out of love for Kathleen, and for the rest of his team. This is his squad. These has got to be his sort of like frontline men and women, and this is his opportunity to die with honor. I mean, there's no other choice for him.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get in the way of that, it's going to kill the woman that he loves and the people that he has sort of like taken under his charge. And so he does the honorable thing. I mean, my whole basis for him was this sort of mythology of the Ronin, of the sort of like the warrior who has lost his purpose and then found it. And so that's the only choice that he could make in that moment, is to be the person who draws the bloater to him.
Fine.
I mean, I couldn't ask for something better to play. There was this specific journey for Perry, and sort of being able to fill in all those blanks and build it to a place where every moment that he has made perfect sense to me was the process. And so without that sort of logic behind it, yeah, you know, that a guy who wants to live beyond anything is going to run, because he can run pretty fast, and he probably can run faster than the slowest person in their group.
Probably.
But to be able to say, no, this is what I've, you know, given myself, this is my purpose, and this is my last stand and a chance to die with honor, he takes it. Interesting, the sort of like the ideas behind good and evil and what's good and what's bad. And I wouldn't define Perry and Kathleen that way. They make some bad fucking choices. But in one sense, they just killed all the Nazis in town.
That's true.
They won, and then they executed all the Nazis who were left, and then they killed everyone who collaborated with the Nazis. And so there is plenty of gray area there to sort of work with. So I don't know, you know, these are good guy things. Like, you know, Lamar like says, you know, I did a bad guy thing. So yeah, I'm the bad guy. For Perry and Kathleen, he did a bad guy thing, and he should pay for that. Now, there probably would have been a more ethical, moral journey to actually put these people on trial, as Kathleen says in The Cell. But, you know, they did what they did.
Yeah, there wasn't an option for that. Because we had these big theories, like especially Erika, that, you know, you're somehow going to survive and we're going to see you in season 2.
As it was playing, me and my husband were watching, and I was like, all right, here's my theory. So it's going to look like he's dying. The camera's going to roll away. We're not going to see any. He's dead.
Oh, yeah.
He's not walking away from that one.
With the success of the show, I texted Neil. I said, you know, look, just for what it's worth, when HBO comes and says, are you sure you guys don't want to tell any more stories? Just know that I'm ready. I'll keep the beard as long as I can. We'll do the Perry prequel. We'll do 10 episodes and call it a day.
There it is.
We're going to watch it.
There it is.
I would actually love to see that, and like Kathleen and like how everything happened there. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
fans will want to see that.
If you're listening, I have a window of availability.
Call Jeffrey. Just call him.
We have it on good authority that they watch every one of our podcasts, so this could happen.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Kind of backtracking a little bit to Tommy. Did you ever have the chance to work with Gabriel Luna or give him any direction on how to like be Tommy, or at least the voice? Because it was one of the things that Lily pointed out. She's like, if you close your eyes, you cannot tell if that's Gabriel Luna speaking or if that's Jeffrey.
My daughter said the exact same thing. We were at the screening, the HBO screening, and she's like elbowing me and whispering, Dad, he sounds exactly like you.
Yeah,
exactly like you.
We sort of like had warm interactions on Twitter, but I was certainly not going to reach out and be like, well, if you want some pointers, that's probably about the most disrespectful thing I could do. I when I heard that he got the role, I wanted to, you know, I trust Neil implicitly, and I know that they spent a lot of time trying to find the right match for Pedro. When they found Gabriel, they were like, oh yeah, that's the guy. And I did just sort of, I was like, well, just do my due diligence, check it out, see if this all sort of tracks. And he had everything that I felt was important to Tommy in terms of the edge that Joel has, but then the sort of the warm heart that Joel does not have. He's experienced incredible trauma with the loss of Sarah too, but because it's not his daughter, he was able to find his way to the other side of it without a surrogate, without, he was able to sort of like recover. And that's what drove him, I think, away from Joel. I felt like, I was like, look, this guy's got that warmth to him and the dangerous, and, he's perfect. I did not anticipate that he would treat it like a biopic, which is what he did, in terms of really trying to treat Tommy as if he was a living, breathing person. And so that blew me away. And then he's just so handsome and like, and shows up with the Remington, and you're just like, that's a bad dude. So just like, all right, I am incredibly honored that this is who Tommy has become, because it brings everything that I brought to the table and then some. And that is as great an honor as I could possibly hope for. And I can't wait to see Sundays where, our company arrives in Jackson.
Oh man, I'm so excited. And I love hearing that too, because it gives so much faith in obviously Neil and all of the directors and everything, to trust them to direct everybody and act in the way that is appropriate for the character, even if you weren't like terribly involved in it. It's like, I see what they did and they did it well. And it gives so much faith in the whole production team. And I love that.
Yeah. It is it's impressive. Cynthia, who does the wardrobe, I knew her previously. We had worked on the Tomorrow People together.
Lovely.
And so like when I found out that it was her, I was like, Cynthia, I don't know if you remember me. She's like, of course I remember you. And so I just had sent her a bunch of stuff, and like I showed up they flew me in, I think like 4 days early, and which is so rare. I came in on a Friday and came to fittings, and then I had a whole weekend to like get ready to shoot. It's so like unusual.
Nice.
But so I came to set, and we walked into this warehouse where they had to have, I don't know, 1,000 costumes for all of the Kansas City, and like she's fitting people, and like, and the pictures that she's got in the wardrobe that she's got is all from the game. Like she tracked down and sourced stuff that matched the game, but had to be made prior to 2003, and had racks and racks of it, and dressed every single person in the show perfectly, and nailed all of the costumes that they had created for the game too. It's just the amount of sweat and blood and labor that her and her team put in was remarkable to get fidelity with the game. But it's just like, it's seamless. It's so perfect.
I found my new heroes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Erika keeps talking about it, like, the costumes, and it's true. Like, we're getting the same things, and we all like, you understood it.
You understood the assignment.
Exactly.
It was beautiful to see so much care, because it's not just money that makes something like that work. It's not just money that makes the set perfect. It's people pouring their heart into it. I do a lot of like construction on my house, and like, repairs, and build motorcycles. I know how much sweat and blood it takes to make something real. Like it's a ridiculous amount of time to do small stuff. To see them do the big stuff, to see them build 16 houses and pour asphalt for the street, and like, it is incredible. And they did it because they loved the crew loved the game. They took the job because they had played The Last of Us. It's really
that's something I've felt since episode 1. Is you really every little touch, every choice kind of seems to be made with that passion for the game, the little nods to the games, the scene recreations and things. It's something I've definitely appreciated about the series. So it's nice to hear that that's really kind of what the vibe was like on the sets as well.
Yeah, it was special. I I did a convention in December in Wales, and it was the first convention I've ever done, and it was really special to interact directly with people who the game had impacted the way that they look at the world. Like they were 12, 13, 14, 15 when they played the game, and then the 10 intervening years they become grown people, and the philosophy and the questions that the game brings up impacted them profoundly. And that was everyone on set as well. And because I don't like interact with that on a daily basis, I forget like what a powerful experience it is, not just for me. Like I play the games and I'm like, they destroy me, and I love it. It's fantastic. And I forget that that's the level of experience everybody has with this interaction, and the fact that people are now watching the show who never would consider playing a game and getting hit in the same way. I can't wait till they see season 2.
Oh my God.
Yes. It's gonna be traumatic. Just putting it out there.
I loved not season 2. I loved the second game so much that I got Ellie's tattoo.
Oh, you've been waiting for this moment.
I was like,
beautiful. Very cool.
Like, is my favorite thing.
The one thing that we didn't do, and we were going to do it up until a few weeks before shooting, was I had like 3, I wanted Perry to have tattoos that sort of like revealed him. And so I did this great sort of like a buddy of mine named Matt Nelson, who's an incredible artist. He did this dragon down here. And so the dragon to me was like the symbol of, that's his trigger hand. So the idea of like this beautiful Japanese dragon. And then on the inside of his forearm, a samurai helmet with a skull. Just sort of like, this is that. And then the sort of journey for me for Perry in the military was like Marines in 1990, and then Buds and Navy SEALs like in 97. And then after Afghanistan, Iraq, in the midst of that, early 2002, he transfers to the PJs, which is a special ops pararescue group. So their sort of slogan is these things we do that others may live, which is like this great sort of credo. And their symbol is an angel with its arms wrapped around the earth. So what I had him do was like a Joan of Arc with angel wings all around her, and then the credo below it. And Craig and Jeremy and Neil like, those are really cool. We are never, ever, ever going to see them. And it's going to take an extra 45 minutes every day in hair and makeup to put those on.
Yeah.
So as much as we would like to do those, we are not going to do that.
So cool,
well, I've been thinking, I was like, I want to get one of those. So as Neil and Craig are getting Ellie's switchblade, I'm thinking, what could I would like to add something, but I haven't found an artist yet.
Yeah, Lily, she's designed a tattoo for me because we're getting Last of Us tattoos.
Yes.
Nice. And she's been designing them for us. I got a mixture of the spaceship and the Firefly logo.
Nice. No, I've got a design. I just don't know. Yeah, I haven't got a tattoo.
Oh, you've got the design. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to offer that I'm going to tattoo you because I can't tattoo. If you want a shitty one, hi.
Indeed, you can always try.
Well, we can't wait to see it when you get it. That's going to be wonderful.
100%.
I was going to ask, I found like a parallel. I mean, I don't know if it's intentional at all, but I found this parallel between Perry and Tommy with their relationships to Kathleen and Joel, respectively. Kind of more for Joel in the second game. They essentially, Perry and Tommy are kind of these characters that don't really agree with the motives of their partner Kathleen and Joel, but they kind of are like, I don't get it, I don't understand it, but I'll follow you. Sort of the way Tommy and Joel start the second game, where Joel tells Tommy the truth, and he's like, you know what, I don't really get it, but I'll take it to my grave. And I kind of saw that happening with Perry and Kathleen, where Perry kind of he didn't really want to do the things Kathleen was doing. He was kind of hesitant to go back into that room and kill all the people. And I don't know, for me, I wanted to see more of that. So I guess, I mean, we touched on you said there was a deleted scene that we didn't get to see, but is there anything else along those lines? Maybe things that you wanted to add into the show? Anything that if you could just make it happen, is there anything you would like to see added to the show to kind of maybe flesh out their relationship a little bit more?
You could have done 4 hours in Kansas City and told that story really well. I mean, I think one of the best things that I've learned as an artist is that we're there to serve the story. And and so and when you trust the people who are telling the stories, it's much easier just to sort of like go along the ride. I would have loved to have done 4 hours on Kathleen and Perry and what happened before.
Yeah.
But it doesn't serve what the bigger picture. And I think that being, it's I'm proud that I'm not neurotic about that sort of thing.
Yeah, because a lot of people would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that what you point at there is interesting in terms of like the beauty of what Craig and Neil are doing is that it is thematically in the texture. Perry joined the military around the same time that Tommy would. And so the idea that there is a group of people who are very content to join and follow and lead from behind is an interesting parallel. And then there are the people who are born leaders, and that for good, bad, or indifferent, we often fall into those camps, and that it is a flaw to be a follower. And the relationship between Kathleen and Perry has parallels to Bill and Frank as well. And in some ways, Perry is Frank, and in some ways, Perry is Bill. But all of these dynamics also echo out even further into season 2, I think. I think that Kathleen's relationship with Revenge points to Abby and Ellie in season 2.
Yes. Yeah.
And that just these are threads of the human experience.
Exactly.
That The Last of Us is committed to exploring. And so all of us as different sort of, wanderers in and out of the storyline are there to serve those threads. I love that. It just speaks to the artistry and care that starts with the writing.
And that's why we need a Perry spin-off.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
The Perry prequel.
Yeah, we need to see that with Jeffrey.
The Perryquel, if you will.
Oh my God. There you go.
Someone on Twitter was like, The Last of Us, a Perry tale.
That's a good.
It plays right into dad jokes. So,
hell yeah.
All the threads come together.
Really
I love dad jokes.
HBO just need to hire us up right now because we're coming up with some masterpieces.
Yeah. Right now, while we're free.
All right. The last question is going to come from me. And I was always interested because we didn't talk about it on our podcast. Wink, wink. Was there a point where the Last of Us idea came up that, let's do a TV series? And was there a point where they were like, we should have Jeffrey as Tommy, we should have Troy as Joel, or was that never an option in there?
I think there was a brief moment where there was an option to do it as an animated series. Motion capture. And if that had been the case, I think the entire original cast would have been brought back to do that. But that came, and then that went away. And so we'll never know.
And now I want to see it.
Well, the thing is, if you play the game, you can see most of that series.
That's true. That's true. I know. And before we go anywhere, other than our usual promotion stuff, I'm going to do like a separate promo for Jeffrey.
Yay!
These are amazing books. I don't have 3 hands, but the second book is here somewhere. I think I landed it to someone. I don't know. Read them. Jeffrey is an amazing writer. These are amazing. The audiobooks, you're not going to recognize Jeffrey's voice. I'm telling you.
There's an audiobook version?
Of course there are.
I'm
And
so
yeah,
excited.
get them. They are really, really good. So please read them and support
Thank you,
Jeffrey.
Lily. Much appreciated.
Yes, please.
Oh, and it's full of beautiful artworks as well, which I'm not sure if I can open it somewhere, but like these ones. So it's
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Those are cool.
just go and get the books and read. It's a good thing to read.
It's good for you.
Thank you so much, Lily. Appreciate the promo.
As always. Erika, do you want to do our usual promos before we say goodbye?
Sure, why not? We are really excited for all of this Last of Us stuff. And if you are too, feel free to become a member, see our faces early, see this kind of stuff early as a member. We would love to see you there. We have a great community, have wonderful conversations, and we'd love to have you. But in either form or fashion, member or not, please join us in the comments, in the live chats. We'd love to have a chat with you.
All right. So this was us with the Rest of Us podcast with a very special guest, Mr. Jeffrey Pierce, who plays Perry in the series. And pick up those controllers and play the game.
Yes.
And you can hear him as Tommy. And thank you, Jeffrey, again.
My pleasure. Take care, y'all.
All right. Take care and endure and
Thanks,
survive.
Yes.
Yes.
Endure and survive.
Bye.
Endure and survive.